Yeah, I'm Brian Smith. I head up partnership at Unified, the social network for organizers and activists, and we're a proud partner with Progress Texas. Well, I love Progress Texas because it gives you your daily fix of news and information from Chris and Haley and the whole team, constantly putting out really useful information. And as a progressive in Texas, I mean, that's my one-stop shop. Healthcare is the number one issue for me that I care about. I want so many people in my family and other families, especially in Texas, to have the healthcare that they need. Policy change that's going to help people and not hurt them.
It's Monday, January 5th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. This first normal Monday of the brand new year is anything but. You may have been like me, and despite all we know about what we're up against this crucial midterm election year, you might have allowed yourself a moment of optimism that 2026 might somehow see less craziness coming from Trumpville, but that illusion was certainly naive and short-lived as the move on Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro went down in the early morning hours of Saturday. The progressive reaction in general is focused on the brazen illegality of this unilateral move. It blatantly violates both international law and the U.S. Constitution. It bypasses congressional war powers and sets a new and dangerous global precedent for nations to exact similarly unilateral regime change upon their weaker neighbors, should they choose to. Even now, Maduro and his wife are on their way to arraignment in New York on narco-trafficking charges, all of this thinly veiled at best, as it's clear this is all about control over Venezuela's vast reserves of oil. In a way, we've seen this before in the Middle East, complete with the very real risk of reducing Venezuela to a truly failed state and plunging its almost 29 million people into chaos and ruin that would then likely spill over its borders with its South American neighbors, primarily Colombia, all putting our enlisted American sons and daughters in jeopardy with no clear endgame. We've seen all of that before, but in this case, there's the overarching theme of reasserting American regional dominance over the Western Hemisphere under this president. America, including Texas, including you and me, demonstrate for the world that we prioritize hemispheric dominance and transactional interests, specifically concerning oil, over established international law or the sovereignty of our neighbors. Our opponents, including China and Russia, now see their own regional ambitions and aggressions normalized, while our allies see the beginning of a might makes right era in which military force displaces diplomacy. In short, we are all less safe today than we were on Friday. The political reaction in Texas, of course, lands largely on partisan lines, though the MAGA folks are more unified. Although lately largely isolationist, Trump land is now all about adventures targeting countries and foreign leaders who dare to resist the dear leader. Governor Greg Abbott, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator John Cornyn, etc., are all very much on board, as you might imagine, leaning reliably into the established drug trafficking talking points, the folly and cynicism of which are central to most Democratic and progressive reactions. Senatorial candidate and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, quote, "Clearly, the president has decided that Congress is nothing more than a pesky accessory. This is about oil," unquote. Senatorial candidate and state rep James Tallarico, quote, "This new war in Venezuela is deeply corrupt. I will never vote to send someone's son or daughter to war to make oil executives richer," unquote. Austin Congressman Lloyd Doggett, quote, "At a time when so many American families are struggling on health care, on the higher prices from Trump's tariff taxes, what a time for the president to begin another war for oil against a weak country, Venezuela," unquote. Fellow Austin Congressman Greg Casar, quote, "Trump has no right to take us to war with Venezuela. This is reckless and illegal. Congress should vote immediately on a war powers resolution to stop him. My entire life, politicians have been sending other people's kids to die in reckless regime change wars. Enough. No new wars," unquote. San Antonio Congressman Joaquin Castro, quote, "The president's motives are dubious. He declared a few weeks ago that this operation was about oil and land. I fear that he will do what he has done in other parts of the world, use this conflict to enrich himself, his family, and his cronies," unquote. WFAA says Dallas State Rep Vinton Jones got stuck in St. Martin on Saturday due to FAA airspace restrictions over Venezuela and its cascading effect on regional air travel. Make no mistake, Nicolas Maduro is a bad actor and has been a disaster for the people of Venezuela. The issue here is the dispensation with international law and the imposition of American control over the natural resources of a sovereign nation. The Texas petroleum sector is definitely watching. Venezuela's oil reserves are mostly comprised of particularly heavy crude of a type that's both difficult to pump and difficult to refine. For years, there was a smooth refining arrangement with the refineries on the Texas coast with Venezuela. Thus, the infrastructure on our coast is custom built to handle dense crude grades, processing that's largely been halted due to U.S. sanctions against Venezuela in recent years. Texas would definitely have a part in increased production in a post-Maduro Venezuela, but redeveloping their extraction infrastructure will take years and require billions upon billions of dollars in investment from investors who will be wary of regional instability and the increased likelihood of global turmoil that this unilateral move risks. One can imagine all of this being sold to Trump as a slam dunk for the oil billionaires, but even they are nervous about the chaotic nature of the situation. Reuters says oil company stocks are up this morning and that Trump has urged all of the major petroleum players to buy into his plans on promises of compensation for assets expropriated by Venezuela 2 decades ago. All of this is both uncomfortably familiar from the behavior of mostly Republican administrations towards our South American neighbors. Panama, Brazil, Nicaragua, Chile, and Guatemala are among the South American countries where Americans have interfered in local matters over the last century or so. And all of this is also difficult to fully conceptualize given the existing upheaval and complexity that existed amidst the chaos of Trump before the toppling of Maduro happened. For a great step towards a more full understanding of all of this, we direct you to a terrific discussion that was held last night with a select group of Texas Democratic candidates, all with deep military and intelligence experience, for their input on the Venezuela situation, organized by our friends at Richardson Area Democrats, hosted by Kate Rumsey of the Mission Texas podcast. This talk provides a spot-on, super smart, and dare I say rad look into how Texas progressives should be viewing the Venezuela situation. See the link in the show notes. We encourage you to set aside some time early this week to watch and listen carefully as this new issue impacting global, national, and state politics begins to emerge. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine, and we rely largely on listener support to keep doing what we do. While we enjoy the support of hundreds of partners, chances are that you, dear listener, haven't joined the team yet. If you're a regular, let's get you on board right now. Huge thanks to John Cotter, Eric Hart, and Kelly Bryant, all of whom are on the team, all of whom we appreciate very, very much. Join us at progresstexas.org. And while you're at the website, grab the merch to match your progressive values at our web store, including our newly expanded Humans Against Greg Abbott collection of tees, stickers, and yard signs. Greg's got to go in 2026, so let's go, y'all. All that and lots more at progresstexas.org. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Monday, January 5th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week, and we'll catch you again tomorrow morning.